All right, let's talk weather. Thursday, August 28th. Can you believe we're wrapping up the month of August? Certainly doesn't feel like the month of August. Been below average, cool air. You gotta love it. You know how hot this time of year could be. So I'll take the 70s and 80s and a little bit of light rain. So we will have those showers around tonight. That's Thursday night through potentially Saturday. Minimal thunder. Honestly, when we talk about this time of year, almost everything that forms, and when frontal boundaries come through, you have a lot of thunderstorms. We'll explain why that's not the case here in this particular setup. And we look pleasant next week. Again, staying seasonally cool with the potential for a few spotty showers, but nothing too significant here or impactful to the forecast. So we'll go right to the composite radar. This is a look right at about 3 o'clock here. Some very light rain. We call this stratiform rain. Now, notice in this big picture, all right, the amount of lightning strikes. This is a regional view of the southeast. There's 10 strikes over a 10-minute period, and all of that is clustered down near Hattiesburg, Mississippi. In the warm sector, we are in the cool and stable sector that is just along and north of a warm front. There's plenty of cloud cover north of the warm front, as is pretty common with this setup in a mid-latitude cyclone. And again, with our stability, we don't expect much in the way of thunderstorms. And the sun's been able to peek through at times today, which is why we've got temperatures in the 80s in Birmingham, Sylacauga, Gadsden, Huntsville. A bit warmer, though, again, in the warm sector, Dothan, Troy, Andalusia. You're looking at temperatures in the upper 80s. No 90s across the state in our cool spot down in Marengo and Sumter counties, even further south into Butler County, where temperatures are in the 60s here at 3 o'clock, that rain-cooled air. So, two-day radar. We'll start with the Birmingham view, as we always do, and there's the loop. Now, some of that rain there in Tuscaloosa is not reaching the ground. This is very light. Moisture's elevated. So if you look at our atmospheric profile, we've got a lot of moisture aloft. As these systems approach, we saturate aloft first and then down to the surface. We don't have a ton of moisture in the lower levels, which means a lot of this rain is not reaching the ground, especially those really light returns here. So there's a look from the Columbus radar site over in Mississippi, and your more steady rain is down a little closer to Demopolis, to Greensboro, to Utah, to Sawyerville, to Wedgeworth. And outside of that, this is a very much a cooling effect to the air. Even if this doesn't reach the ground, it does cool the atmosphere, that evaporative cooling that takes place. So expect our temperatures to drop here as this swath of rain gets closer. The wiregrass remains dry with plenty of sunshine for the time being. All right, big picture here. This is Friday at 7 o'clock. All right, a lot of football games will be kicking off. But the pattern, what I wanted to show you is basically our pattern here. So I'm going to jump into this graphic here and kind of illustrate a little bit. So you could pick out our trough, right? You could easily see where that line of really demarcation is with respect to the cooler air to the north, warmer air to the south. And it's a big influencing factor to the forecast. We don't typically have troughs like this in August, but this is one of those times. So note, there is our trough. The axis right about there. So the majority of our rain as we head into the weekend is going to be associated along and just to the east of this trough axis. So let's go to, now we'll push this forward a little bit to Saturday evening, where our temperatures again will remain likely below average. There's the heart of the trough there up over Maine and the Canadian Maritimes, but we still stay in a bit of a northerly to northwesterly flow. And notice, once again, we look at height values at 500 millibars, which is what this is checking. Notice where our ridge is. Out here, Intermountain West. Okay, those are your higher atmospheric heights. Granted, it's higher elevation, but still, geopotential heights. We are looking at the warmest air across the southern, or the lower 48, being in the western U.S. Across the east, that's pretty good. That is a cooler air mass, and one that will continue to send weak frontal boundaries to the south. Something else to keep in mind, should anything tropical originate, okay? When you have a setup like this, you can have all the tropical systems you want in the world, and there is not a track that says this right now. But you have a blocking front like this, there is no chance of anything moving in this general direction. You also have your Bermuda High, which will steer anything away from the United States, and that is our current pattern. So feel pretty good about that. Tropics are awfully quiet. We'll get to that in just a minute. Moving ahead to late next week, this is next Wednesday, and I mean, look at that. Again, another trough pushing in here. We're once again at the base of a trough with that cooler air in place, and this is not a very common August setup for us, but I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. Warm weather fans, sorry about that. We will have another shot of hot air before things are all done. Believe me, we absolutely will. This is some really, really cold air for the season. I mean, this is um, a behind this. You're talking unseasonable. I'm not exactly sure what the temperatures will be with that, but that is a very low atmospheric height, low pressure beneath there, and some much cooler air. And again, troughing existing through much of the eastern seaboard. So that's really a look at the next week or so from that upper air perspective. Let's do the short term now and go to the HER. This is starting Friday at 7 o'clock. We'll note we'll still have that band of showers, especially in southern Alabama. I think the majority of the rain impacts with this are going to stay south of I-20. Doesn't mean we can't have a shower to the north, but I think a lot of it's south of I-20. This is at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, you'll notice the track of that rain staying to the south, as will that frontal boundary. And we'll probably have a decent amount of cloud cover up here in the northern half of the state. But the majority of the rain, the impactful rain, will stay in the southern half of Alabama. Lows tonight, still some 50s sprinkled in there. A lot of us, though, in the 60s, closer to 70 across the Wiregrass in that more muggy part of the air mass. Friday, rain will have an influence on temperatures. We may stay in the 70s in much of west and southwest Alabama, middle 80s elsewhere. And by Saturday, rain chances drop, but it'll still be around, especially in East Alabama. Highs anywhere from the upper 70s to low 80s. Again, our rain chances on Saturday are highest there in the darker green shaded, which is the southern part of the state. 7-day rain outlook, and you'll notice the bullseye of about 2 inches for the average over the next 7 days, and that's going to be down to the south and west. And really what this is accounting for is the focus of the rain over the next 2 days. With it being there, we'll probably see the highest, most concentrated rain totals in that area. However, even this seems a little bit high to me. 2 inches is a very light rain that is falling. So even if it falls continuously here over the next 24 plus hours, which I don't think it will, 2 inches plus is a lot for an air mass like this to create. All right, as I mentioned, we'll check on the tropics here. Fernand, kind of an afterthought there in the North Atlantic. Bye-bye. No impact system there. And how about this? A look at the NHC Outlook, the newest little tropical wave here. Not a concern at the moment. And honestly, with our current pattern, you got your Bermuda high here. Anything that forms at this latitude is going to curve up and around. That would be my thinking. There is absolutely no answer key to this time of year. But that would be what I think based on the going pattern and how things have looked so far this tropical season. You have to look for the big features. You don't look for the smaller ones, but when you have steering elements like a Bermuda high, that is something to always watch here. So, tropics, pretty quiet. Hurricane names, made it through Fernand. Next up would be Gabrielle, and you can see on down the list. Hopefully we don't get too far down it. That would mean we've had a busier second half of the season. Speaking of, we are still technically the first half of tropical season. Here we are, Thursday the 28th. We are approaching the peak of hurricane season, the peak of the Atlantic tropical season across the Atlantic Basin for 2025. So don't let your guard down yet. Keep you updated. No hyperbole, no nonsense here. Just an honest, straightforward forecast. And honestly, I think things are very quiet here for the short term. So that's a look at your forecast discussion for this Thursday afternoon. Hope you guys have had a great week thus far. See you next time.